Hey guys, welcome back to another video of me trying to be profitable, and this week was another great week for learning. I learned some great lessons which I think could help a lot of people out, so be sure to watch till the end. But yeah, I won't stop for any longer, so let's just get into the trades. Alright, new week. Focusing on being more patient this time and not forcing any setups that don't align with my plan, so let's get it. And looking at the high time frame, we did have this daily fair value gap we were expected for bearish, and we were currently within this 4 hour plus 1 hour fair value gap overlap. And I wanted to see the reaction of this high time frame level to see where price could run. And looking at the low time frame, we had some imbalances to work with there being a 15 plus 5 minute fair value gap overlap above the accumulation range. And I wanted to see how price reacted to this accumulation range. If we break free to the buy side and also break free to the low time frame imbalances overlap, we could go for a long to the prominent highs. But I don't want to get too ahead of myself though, because price still needs to develop, so I just wanted to wait to see what happened. And I was waiting for a trade for a while. I did see a potential trade on ES with a bullish SMT plus 5 minute order block tap in plus golden zone, but I didn't take it because I didn't usually trade ES, and it was 5 minutes before the high impact news. Back on the NQ market was still just chopping like crazy till the PMI news at 12 AM, and there was this potential trade I was looking at for a long stuff to the prominent high, but I wanted to only take A plus 7, so I wanted to see the third golden line getting hit to enter this trade. And I was going to place the trade after because I wanted to see the reaction and formation of the low time imbalances, though that caused me to end up missing my entry. The formation candle spread hit the zone I was waiting to be hit, and price ended up just running, which was quite unfortunate. You can see I tried to look for another entry because I was confident in this trade, though my second trade also missed by like 0.1 of a pip, which is amazing. And so with that, I just stopped there for today because I was about to hit the limit for my trading time, which is at 12:30 AM AEST. Though today was still pretty alright. I was patient and waited for a setup. The setup did occur, I just wasn't fast enough to capitalize on it. I most likely focused too much on being patient today, which caused me to lack the aggressiveness to take the trade when it did occur. And this was the potential trade I was talking about, and would have hit break even in the end, though it was still a really clean trade. But yeah, that's it for Monday. Alright guys, so I saw this high time imbalance overlaps with the daily fair value gap, 4 hour fair value gap, and 1 hour fair value gap, which I wanted to see the reaction off of. And I was watching the recently made low time frame imbalances, and there was a nice overlap of low time imbalances with a 5 minute fair value gap plus 3 minute order block. We also had a bullish SMT on NQ as lagging index. We also just without some internal liquidity, so this trade looked pretty good. So I placed a snipe at the third line, the golden zone, and waited for price to develop. We did end up hitting my entry, the volume was quite low. Though I was alright with that because it was a pre-market trade, so it was expected. The price just continued pushing down slowly and hit my stop loss pretty quickly for a loss of $100. And I was waiting for another setup, and I noted that there was a 5 minute change in state delivery with LROs to the buy side. Got a good push up with a strong bullish form, bullish change in state delivery. I decided to place a snipe entry with the overlap 5 minute fair value plus order block, which overlapped with the golden zone. The price did end up pushing down and continued with that strong bearish power. Tap by stop loss for a loss of 30, bringing the total loss to $230 today. Okay guys, go just take a moment to just look at the 5 minute chart. It was actually a trombone. But yeah, not unhappy with the trades today that I took because I did follow my plan, and I waited patiently for them to plan. Well, what I could have done, but I could have known that we were in an overall bearish trend. We got a breakthrough, but 15 minute play, and after the market open, we got a huge push up to tap the nice overlap of a 5 minute fair to get plus 15 minute order block, which is overlap with the golden zone. We tapped that area. The trade would have played out really well, and there's confirmation after this tapping for entries into shorts, which we could have taken down to Asia lows. But yeah, that about does it for Tuesday. Alright, so looking at the high time, we're looking pretty bearish currently, with price filling in and respecting this 4 hour order block for bearish. Though we were also filling in this bullish daily order block, and we just saw that internal liquidity on the 4 hour with a weaker form, so it's pretty loose with the bias today. Mainly wanted to see how price would react to this 1 hour fair value gap level. And the low time was looking pretty bearish currently, though, with price respecting this bearish 50 minute fair value gap and continuing to move lower after breaking out of this accumulation range. So I just continue to wait and see how price develops. And I was waiting for my entry to be hit because it was quite a bit higher up due to me wanting the best possible entry to snipe. And we did chop around for a while before price finally came up and hit my entry, and we immediately started chopping on the 1 minute after hitting the entry, though I thought it was okay because there would be some manipulation after this chop. And after waiting for a while, price did end up plummeting pretty quickly to my partial for a small one of $240. And from there I moved my stop loss to break even and waited for price to develop, and we did have some low time imbalances like the 5 minute order block and the 3 minute fair value gap that I wanted to see if price would respect, though we didn't, and price ended up coming up to my stop loss for a small one of $20, bringing today's total to $260. I feel like today was pretty alright. There were some points I definitely need to improve on. My confidence for one took a dip from the start of the week till now, and I feel like part of that is because I'm holding on to profits I've made so far, because it's the farthest I've gotten into a funded account. Though if I think about it, holding on to these profits will just lead me to dragging this on for longer, because if I don't grow the confidence to take the trades and always stay in the comfort of smaller risk, I wouldn't be able to grow. And I feel like I was also a bit ambitious or greedy today, about getting to that in a bit. Of what I could have done better, I could have sniped the entry a bit better by having the entry at the goal golden zone lines, though I'm not unhappy with the entry today. The part I would improve on the most is probably my TP placement, because I placed it all the way at the prominent low, which I'm sure it could have been hit, though it was still a bit ambitious because I knew that price would be acting with due to FOMC news coming out later on, and because of that I feel like there was also a bit of greed involved, and that's the thing. I want to keep my profits while also making money. I can't have both. I need to choose one and just stick to it. I should just pick making money, because if I always just keep my money and don't accept the rest, then I can't grow. But yeah, I'll improve on that and come back better tomorrow. That's about it for Wednesday. Alright, so the high room looking pretty nice today, with there being an overlap of 4-hour order block plus 1 hour fair value gap, which we can look to fill since we've been bullish for a while. We swept out plenty of highs on the 4-hour plus 1 hour time frame. And I wanted to see the reaction of the imbalances price was currently in this 1 hour fair value gap plus order block, since we hadn't swept out the prominent high. And looking at the low time, we did have some imbalances to work with currently, and price had just respected a 15-minute fair value gap to push lower, and we swept out a 15-minute low from that. We created more bearish imbalances like the 5-minute fair value gap, which we also seem to be respecting pretty nicely. And I was looking more for a bullish trade today, and the reason behind it is because we still hadn't swept that prominent high yet. And I was confident in this trade because we already had a retracement into the 1 hour order block plus golden zone, which we had a bullish response off of. And we were also chopping for a while after retesting the golden zone plus 1 hour order block, so I was mainly waiting for a manipulation move. Because of that, I snapped the entry with confidence, and it was initially looking pretty good. Oh, we started getting some manipulation. The price started getting some strong bearish power, and we ended up hitting stop loss pretty quick for a loss of 450. So today, I wasn't annoyed by it because I did follow my plan. That's how I perceived the market, and in my analysis skills that I need to improve more. Too much on a high time room, and restricted the low time room balances that price was currently respecting. Since I'm more of a transition trader, the low time room balances mean more to me because I'm catching a small move. And with what I could have done better, I could have noted that the 1 hour order block could have been invalidated as a prediction from price disrespecting the 1 hour fair value gap and retesting. Got more retests, and price eventually plummeted, but we were respecting low time room confluences like the 5-minute fair value gap plus BPR. But yeah, I was too focused on wanting price to respect the 1 hour order block for bullish. I did not account for the other confluences present, which was reflecting price. But yeah, that's about it for Thursday. Alright, so for the high time frame, the 4 hour time frame wasn't giving us much, and on the 1 hour we can see that price was consolidating all throughout Asia, and now we're just getting some manipulation out of the range. And we were within these 2 hourly imbalances, which we were just consolidating within, and we had some highs and lows we could use as targets, but for direction today, I was pretty 50-50 with it. Looking at the other time frame, we had this 50-minute fair value gap we hadn't retested into yet, but the overall direction seemed pretty bullish. If we confirm the break past the accumulation range, I would most likely aim for a retest entry around this level. And this trade, I was waiting for my entry to be hit. I was quite confident in this trade because the confidence is backing up the trade, and the return for the risk would be pretty alright. I break for the 1 hour fair value gap with a strong bullish candle, bullish 50-minute candle, so that started to make me hunt for an entry for this night. And I was aiming for the 15-minute plus 5-minute fair value gap overlap, which was overlapped with the golden zone, and it looked pretty good from market opens as price plummeted down and hit the 50-minute fair value gap. The price missed my entry by a few pips just before pushing up to hit the partial and in full TP, and this is quite unfortunate, but it's alright because the bias was still right. I'm not happy about missing profits because this is still a win in my book, and with what I could have done better, I could have just had my entry placed a bit higher, which would have made me hit my entry. I could have also targeted the recently made 5-minute fair value gap, which I looked at briefly initially. There was a seek and destroy of that entry, and if I entered here and that coupled with price tapping the 15-minute fair value gap plus order block overlap, the trade would have ran really well to hit the profit targets. But honestly, alright way to end off the week. Alright, so that ends off this week's trades. Pretty good week honestly, and I'm quite happy with what I learned in the trades I took this week. And one thing to point out was that market did not hit any of the key levels I was looking at during my weekly analysis. It just kind of chopped around the entire week, which did explain why some of the moves weren't as great as the previous week. Though it still told me a lot of good lessons that like I should aim for a smaller, more consistent risk to reward trades and just focus on making the single trade that I take in a day the best trade I can make it. And also I should just use my regular risk for each trade because each trade I take should be A+ or have high confidence in. And another one is not contradicting myself with my intentions with wanting to save money while also making money. I have to choose one. But yeah, red week this week, but still a pretty good week nonetheless. Thank you guys so much for watching this video till the end. If you guys are interested, join up the Discord. I've just made a Discord with a friend, and it's just meant to be a chill server where we all learn and grow together and become the traders that we want to become. So yeah, join up if you're keen. But yeah, thank you guys again so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.